Joining us now to discuss Craig Dwight, CEO of Horizon Bancorp. He joins us from the 20th Annual KBW Community Bank Investor Conference. Craig, thanks very much for joining us. We're going to get on to your earnings, which were very strong in just a moment. But if we could start, if you don't mind, with that Capital One hack. What's your take on it, and how confident can any bank be that they are safe from these sorts of threats?
Well, something we all are up, stay up late at night worrying about is cyber breaches, et cetera. In fact, just last night I signed up for the Equifax data security and their breach that happened a couple years ago, and unfortunately another one occurred today. We do need, I think, government support to help defend against these actions going throughout the world, and it's unfortunate to hear about Capital One's breach today.
How confident are you that you are protected as we sit here right now?
As confident as probably Capital One was. I think we all think we're doing the best job that we can. I'm a small bank, $5 billion in total assets, headquartered in Indiana, Michigan. We got a great technology team. We have all kinds of cyber walls and cyber security. But does anyone really know how well they're protected when you have state-sponsored cyber attacks taking place? So even though this happened internally within the United States, there's a lot of attacks taking place every single day.
Craig, let's move on and talk about your earnings. Strong loan growth, strong deposit growth year over year. It doesn't paint the picture of a U.S. economy that requires a rate cut tomorrow, does it?
No, it does not. And a lot of the community banks we're following also reported strong earnings for the second quarter. In fact, we reported record earnings for the second quarter. What was supporting our earnings growth was the consumer side of the balance sheet and consumer loans. Our commercial loans actually fell down during the second quarter, but consumer and mortgages have had a strong rebound, primarily due to lower interest rates, as well as the low unemployment rates for the consumer. They're still spending their money.
I was just going to ask about your outlook for M&A. I mean, it always feels like a right place for deal making, the regional banking space. Is that something that you expect, that you're going to be active in?
Yes, consolidation is going to continue to take place in the banking industry. About 5% of the banks are sold every single year. And for Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio banks, we expect to have about 22 looks every single year. We've completed 14 acquisitions over the last 17 years and 7 over the last 4 years. So, yeah, we are very active in the mergers and acquisition game, and that will be an important part of our growth going forward. We like to see it about 50% mergers and acquisitions and 50% of our growth organically.
Craig, you've got quite a high exposure to agriculture, given where you're based. Do you feel like farmers are feeling the pressure of the trade war?
Actually, we don't have a high exposure to ag. We're about $100 million out of our $5 billion in total assets are in ag. We have an outstanding ag group. The farmers had a decent year last year in Indiana and Michigan. What's hurting this year was the wet crops and the rainfall from the springtime delayed their ability to plant. If they had crop insurance, the farmers are going to do quite well and actually report a profit from the crop insurance because they didn't have the input costs due to the wet season. So we actually think the ag industry in the Midwest is not that bad. The production will be down, though, so next year prices should go up.
Do you see any areas of caution coming down the pike in terms of the economy, consumer, business, appetite for spending and taking out loans? Anything to be concerned about this year, the end of this year?
Well, consumer lending is really quite strong, both in automotive, home equity, and home repair. The challenge, I think, right now is we're seeing some softness in the C&I industry. There has been some announced layoffs in the eastern part of Michigan in the automotive industry. And consumer, as long as they're continue working, will continue to spend. So in the mortgage finance with the low interest rates, we should see a bigger uptick in mortgage volume this year.
Craig Dwight, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on your show.